Hi, I'm Mark Frazier. Exploring wildlife right in our own backyard is the best way to learn to appreciate them and therefore protect them. You're invited to join me on the exciting wildlife adventures. Welcome to Nature Walks. Living in the wild is a difficult thing to do. I mean, let's face it, it's tough to find food. Just imagine being a dog-sized animal. Now, they've had to learn how to live with us, around humans. Try to be a carnivore living in suburbia. It's incredible. But, you know, I have a German Shepherd at home. That is a very, very smart dog. But let's face it, he doesn't really have to think about how to find food. He just has to look cute and, and we'll feed him. So for him, the amount of brain matter that he needs to survive is probably one-tenth of what something like a CoyWolf would need, having to think its way through all the obstacles and all the difficulties to find food right around suburbia. But yet they do exactly that. I remember a long time ago, I was a young, probably early 20s, hiking in a forest just like this. I came to the top of this hill and decided to take a break, and I just kind of kicked back. I was there, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes or so, and I started to hear footsteps in the leaves. I thought it was somebody walking their dog or that sort of thing, and I just sat there. And all of a sudden, this CoyWolf comes running up the hill, and we're eye to eye, probably no more than 2 or 3 feet apart. I could actually see the details of his eyes as they dilated. It was an incredible experience for me, and I never forgot that. I realized just how amazingly beautiful this animal was as it slowly walked off. Now, I've seen CoyWolves in the wild all over the Northeast, from the Adirondacks to Massachusetts. But I heard there was a pair of non-releasable CoyWolves in a pen in the state of Maine at their wildlife park. I decided to go there so I could get an up-close and personal view and share that with you. I'm here today at the Maine Wildlife Park with Kurt Johnson. Kurt, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here at the park?
Sure, I'm the superintendent here at the park, and the park is part of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, the state's Fish and Wildlife Management Agency. And the park exists to educate the public on Maine's fish and wildlife species, how the department manages those species, and the programs that we have available. And so it's a really neat facility. You can see over 30 species of native Maine wildlife, and it's a very popular destination every year for lots of people.
And these animals are non-releasables?
They are. For one reason or another, they might be human dependent, they might have an amputation or some condition that keeps them from being released into the wild.
Fantastic. So Kurt, a lot of people think that the eastern coyote is a dangerous animal. What do you think about that?
I don't think they're a dangerous animal. The species, or the 2 individuals that we have here, are used to humans, yet, as you'll see in a moment, are still very timid, and it's very hard to get close to them. So how much more so would their wild counterparts be in that regard?
So if I was to go into the enclosure with them, if they were a dangerous animal, then I would have a problem. So this will be a good kind of example to see whether or not these are a dangerous species. Is that true?
I think so.
Good, excellent. We'll give it a shot. I could not believe how beautiful these animals are close up. I've seen them in the wild many times. I've even been very close, but never in a condition like this, broad daylight, between 50 and 100 feet. These animals were amazingly timid. Today's goal is going to be to try and feed them to see if they'll get close enough where you can appreciate the scale. How big is the eastern CoyWolf compared to a human being? So I'm going to try to get as close as I can. Now, they're very timid, so I don't know how well this is going to work or not, but we're going to give it a shot. And if we can get them close enough in frame and camera, you'll be able to see just how large or small they really are. The fact is, despite being inside an enclosure like this, These are very much wild coy wolves, and they really didn't want nothing to do with me. But after over an hour of constantly trying and being very patient, they started to get a little bit closer, a little bit more confident that I wasn't a threat. Obviously in the wild, you would never want to feed coy wolves. They need to be afraid of humans. It's said that a fed animal is a dead animal, and that's the truth. So please don't ever do this. In this case, I know these animals will never be released to the wild, and this affords me the opportunity to show a close-up personal view that wouldn't happen unless it was a condition like this. At a glance, it was clear that these are thinking animals, very intelligent canines. The female was a little bit more willing to get close to me, while the male kept his distance. Being true carnivores, coy wolves eat meat, and you can imagine what's in this bucket, and I can tell you it wasn't pretty. As I learned from Dr. Way, coy wolves have a similar lifespan to that of a German Shepherd, so just imagine how difficult that must be on an animal that's over 10 years old. They get arthritis just like we do, so you can imagine that's a difficult way to survive, trying to be a carnivore and look for food. But they do it, and sometimes they make it to be 12 years old, 13 years old in the wild. That big carnivore niche is important for a healthy ecosystem. The truth is, wolves came back to the Northeast in the form of genes mixing into that of the coyote. Here's the male. Look at how pronounced his forehead is. You can actually see that really large area. Now here's the female. She seemed to be warming up to me a lot more than that male was. Each time that she trotted past, she gave me a really interesting look, like she really was trying to figure me out. Then suddenly, something magical. She did it. I could not believe it. Now this was a real breakthrough. Keep in mind that there's a camera crew with me as well, and they're inside the enclosure also. In total, we spent over 3 hours trying to get these animals to warm up enough where we could have some close contact. Eventually, they got calm enough where we figured it was time to try something where I could actually be at eye level with the coy wolf close up. So what we did is place some food attractant next to this uprooted tree stump. I sat beside it, crouched down. As luck would have it, it was the male that seemed to come over. He was still extremely timid, but he really wanted to get a meal. He kept darting back and forth, and then suddenly, eye-to-eye contact. He just had a moment.
Did he go far enough to get him in the...
He could have, but saw Mark and that was it.
There was like a 3-second pause of ruh-roh. One of the things that I think it's important to do is dispel the rumors, the incorrect information that gets into the media about this animal. A lot of people think that they're dangerous, that they have to be concerned, but that's not true at all. Truth of the matter is they're not a dangerous species. They are a predator, sure, and they look for their prey items, but that's the way nature works. Mother Nature knows what she's doing, and there's no reason to be concerned about the species at all. The incredible thing about wildlife is the closer you look, the more you find. Thank you so much for joining me on this nature walk. I'm Mark Frazier, and I'll see you again very soon.